Hi, and welcome to Chamber Chat via Zoom. I'm Danielle McFadden, president of the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce. I'm so happy to have a good friend on who I've known for, I think, probably a decade now.
I think so.
Crazy how
Yes, I
time
think it's been about.
flies. I have Jeff Hall with me. He is Vice President, U.S. Navy Chief Retired of Safety Net Solutions. First of all, thank you for your service.
Thank you. It's an honor. Thank you for making it worth it.
Thank you. So Safety Net Solutions, I want to hear all about it.
Okay, so Safety Net Solutions is it's been around since 1992. Ross Miller, my business partner and current president, we're transitioning leadership currently. He's just phenomenal. He's built some. Currently, the company has over 20 patents under its belt from our engineers and software, engineers and software developers. We solve problems for Department of Defense, for every Department of Defense except the Marine Corps, Department of Transportation and FAA. We even have done work for INS, well, formerly INS, now ICE, and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
That's I'm saying the word impressive again for the second time. I feel like it's going to be like the word of this interview, so bear with me, but very impressive. And I'm really excited to hear what you have to say about ransomware, because I feel like that's something that we're hearing about all the time in the news. If I get hit with ransomware, what should I do?
All right, that's a great question, Danielle. So just last month in June, the White House issued a memo to executive leaders and business owners on the best actions to take in case they are hit by these attacks. Of course, prevention is always the preferred over repair or recovery. But so the current administration urges everyone to take ransomware crimes seriously and to ensure that cyber attack measures, match the threat. So companies that view ransomware as a threat to their core business and not just a threat to data theft, they're going to be able to respond and react more quickly and more successfully. To be quite honest with you. So the White House has issued, has basically implemented a five best practices, right? And the first one is multi-factor authentication, because passwords alone are just routinely compromised.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 and 3 are endpoint detection and endpoint response. So this is to hunt for malicious activity on the network and to block it. Number 4 is encryption. So even in the worst case scenario, if the data is stolen, it's not usable. And then finally, skill empowered security team. So they can patch rapidly and share and incorporate the threat information in their defenses. So you want to, so that's the prevention side of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not prepared, yes, it's going to be a little more challenging, but here's what you do. Contact us right away. The very next business day, we'll come out, we'll begin analyzing your situation and recovering your data. We're going to understand that part of the process is getting the bad actors out, finding exactly where they are, and removing them, and how they got in, of course. Often this means completely reinstalling your operating system on all your computers and everything that's been compromised. So this is time consuming and costly. Sometimes actually it costs more than it would have cost to pay the actual ransom in the first place.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yes.
And I know, like, sometimes when I get that multi-factor authentication.
Multi-factor authentication.
Authentication. All right.
It's a pain. It's an inconvenience. And nobody
I can't even say it. So
now say it 5 times fast.
Authentication. But when I get that, exactly, that's what I think. Like, oh, what a pain. But it's protection. And it doesn't take that much more of your time to do it.
It takes maybe 10 seconds more of your time.
Really not that much more time. It took me longer to say the word authentication than bless my heart. I like that. Thank you. My heart needs as many blessings as it can get. So if you are compromised, will you have to pay the ransom?
Okay, another great question. So it's difficult to really advise on that one way or another, but typically companies that do pay the ransom, they'll have their data unencrypted and restored by the criminals who stole it in the first place. But no one can know for sure if that data has been truly compromised, or if it's been sold to someone else. So
Wow.
yeah, I take a minute for that one. So additionally, law enforcement and US financial agencies, they're increasingly taking a position that actually paying the ransomware is illegal. And so
Wow.
can you 1099 a hacker? I mean, they did take more than $600 from you.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to
You pay,
1099 a hacker.
right?
That's a really good point. I never even thought of it that way. I'm
Yeah.
sure in many cases businesses are just so scared that it's going to cripple their business that they'd rather just, like, the easy solution is just to pay the hacker.
And that's exactly what the hackers are counting on. They monopolize and they capitalize on fear.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, how long am I going to be down? How much is this going to cost me? How long am I going to be out of business? So exactly, you're exactly right on that.
So how long does it typically take to recover from a ransomware attack?
So without ransomware protection, it can take a long time to recover. A long time. If you have to rebuild all your, because you're going to have to rebuild all of your business systems and your records, your other computer data from scratch if you have no backups. Um, Recovery without backup, it can actually cost you more, probably 10 times
Mm.
more than the actual ransom in the first place would have cost you. And typically for small businesses, what ransomware hackers are demanding is $5,600 in ransom.
Wow.
So you multiply that, and the way you come at that cost, get to arrive at that cost is just your downtime. What does it cost
Hmm.
you to be out of business? If you have any, particular lawsuits or any liabilities or fines that you have to pay for extra, say, if you have HIPAA, if you're a medical practice, that could drive your cost up. So with ransomware protection and recovery, to do it quicker, it's still not free, um, but machines have to be reinstalled. You have to remove the bad actors, and the data is protected once from that point, and they can't be compromised from further ill use.
So when do bad actors usually strike? And I like the term bad actors. That's like the
Yeah,
perfect way to put it.
and that's the typical terminology that we use for them these days. So there are multiple networks in multiple countries working around the clock to find vulnerabilities in your networks and businesses of all sizes. So this is a constant threat.
Hmm.
There's no good time to let your guard down. These hackers are dedicated and relentless, and they're constantly finding new ways to basically to catch the unsuspecting and the unprepared. So that said, usually Friday between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. is the favorite time to start encryption. That's when most people shut down their businesses and close for the day. So your staff, when your staff comes in on Monday, they'll see one of two alerts. Either one, if they were not protected, they'll see that, okay, no, your data is held captive, it's being held hostage, and this we're demanding X amount of dollars or Bitcoin typically
Hmm.
in ransomware. Option B, if they were protected, okay, this is what happened over the weekend. This is what was shut down. This is where we need what action needs to be taken, and this is where your start point needs to go from.
So
And
you
so
ideally would like to be B, not A.
I would like to be B personally. I don't know
Yeah.
where you sit, but I like to be in
Yeah.
position B.
Wow. It's staggering to think about because nobody is immune to this, correct? It doesn't matter how small you are.
It really doesn't matter, even from the small, sole proprietor
Hmm.
that has maybe one or two employees. If they have access to email, they click on. So the hackers are so savvy and so they're very clever. They'll open an email that looks like it came from Microsoft and just ask them to click on something, to verify credentials. And it's just that simple. Next thing you know, your entire network is locked up and
Hmm.
it's held hostage, and you're being asked for a certain amount in Bitcoin.
I mean, it's even happened to us on not that level, but at the chamber where board members will receive emails from me where the email is changed to my name, but then the address is something crazy. And I'm like, no, look at the actual address, and asking for things that I would never ask for in a way I would never ask for something.
And yeah, and that's where a competent security team or agent really comes in handy. So
Mhm.
so that you can't, so your staff can be tested on, and your security can be tested to make sure that you're following, you're not vulnerable in any way.
So important. How can you protect businesses that choose your service? Because
Okay.
people are listening now, let me tell you.
Okay, well, I hope they are, and I'm happy and I'm blessed that they are, if they are. So we hope to implement the industry standard of 3-2-1 backup. So that's 3 backups, 2 different
Wow.
types of media, and then 1 backup that offsite that is not over rewritable from a ransomware actor. All right. So we ship our clients a secure backup device that's housed locally on their site. As a redundancy, we also back up that data to a cloud storage, which is housed in 2 separate locations, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast.
Wow.
So if there's a natural disaster, hurricane, or what have you, your data is still protected and it's housed, it's stored, and you can rely on it. Data backup is conducted at mutually agreed upon intervals and also at the end of the workday. Using remote monitoring and management, we call it RMM. We monitor for ransomware at scale. That means depending on the amount of data you have, the number of locations you have, we monitor it at that scale. We receive immediate notification if ransomware is detected. We prevent that spread by isolating it. We remediate all issues remotely. So you're done immediately. You don't have to wait for somebody to come on site to take care of your issues. We're going to be taken care of, on site, and you have 24/7 access to us.
Wow.
Yes, we can have clients back up and running, most likely within 1 hour. Within 1 hour.
Wow.
1 hour. And the worst case scenario, and it again depends on size, scale, and the amount of data, no more than 24 hours, you're back up and running.
That's amazing.
We can also back up your Microsoft 365 and your G Suite application. So, and actually, Microsoft recommends that you have a third-party backup because they don't guarantee it.
Wow.
Microsoft and Google do not guarantee your data or your equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So we also are operating system agnostic, which means we can service Mac or Windows.
Is there anything you can't do? That's amazing. I like that you back up at mutually agreed upon intervals throughout the day, because that means that if you lost your data, it wouldn't even be for an entire day. That's amazing.
Exactly. So if you want it backed up every 15 minutes, then we back it up every 15 minutes.
Yeah. Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
I learned a lot today. My wheels are spinning. It must be such an interesting industry to be involved with.
Yeah. So the key term is BCDR, is business continuity and disaster recovery. That's what all of this is about, and that's what the White House, major initiative is. Because we can't expect our legislation to do it by themselves. We have to take an active part, in our own protection as well.
And I love that you're educating too in the process. You're educating all of us.
Well, I'm a Navy chief. That's what
you're like, it's kind of my thing.
It's kind of what I do.
Is there anything else you'd like the viewers to know about Safety Net Solutions?
Yeah, so what we want to do, we quite simply, we want to make a difference. We just want to solve problems. We want to save the world.
Quite simply, we want to save the world.
That's it.
Well, this is a great way to put your stamp on the world for sure. It's something that you hear about in the news on a daily basis now. And by providing the tips that you did on how we can protect ourselves up front is really invaluable information.
I'm happy to share. And I appreciate you so much for having me. I love so much what you do and how you do it. I really do.
Thank you. I appreciate you and all that you do. Thank you for everything. And we're gonna see you tonight at a mixer. So I'll
Ma'am,
see you in a
yes,
couple
ma'am. But you
hours.
hit me with a good time.
I'll see you. Are you gonna get in a Instagram video?
We could think about and talk
Uh,
about it. We got a little time
Offline.
between here and now.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will
Yes,
see you
ma'am.
soon.
Have a beautiful rest of the day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Yes, ma'am. Bye now.
The Coalition for a Better Acre invests in communities, developing stable neighborhoods, and building futures. Since day one, Enterprise Bank has been CBA's leading local funder because Enterprise understands commercial lending, how to streamline the process, and make it easy, serving as a trusted advisor and partner. Whatever your idea of success, Enterprise can help get you there. Enterprise Bank. Create real success. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.